Hey, what's up, gamers? Here today with another unboxing. Today we have Doom for the Super Nintendo and the SNES Rumble controller by Limited Run Games. Kind of feels like we're going back to 1995. I think Limited Run Games did a really good job in re-releasing the Doom for the Super Nintendo. The cover art is pretty much identical to Super Nintendo's Doom, which released in 1995. There's the back right here. If I tilt it, it's like really glary. But it's pretty spot on. I myself never had it. Like, I have Doom for the Super Nintendo, but I have just a loose cartridge. I never had the box. I've seen pictures online, and I have seen the box, like at retro game stores, a complete version of Doom, but it's more expensive. And I've had the cartridge since I was a kid. So maybe one day I'll buy like a reproduction box or something so I can complete it. But yeah, this is basically spot on to how Doom looked in 1995. Interesting enough that this game did come out in 1995, basically at the end cycle of the Super Nintendo. And also, interestingly enough, 2 years later, Doom 64 released for the N64, which is it's kind of wild, right? So the original Doom for Super Nintendo used a FX chip. There was other games that used the Super FX chip. I believe it was Star Fox, Vortex, Dirt Tracks for the Super Nintendo, but I believe those versions, those first three games that I mentioned, they used the Super FX GSU-1 chip as opposed to Doom. The only two games that I know of, there could be more, is Doom for the Super Nintendo and Super Mario World 2 Yoshi's Island. Well, they used the Super FX GSU-2 chip. So I think those are the only two games that I know off the top of my head. But the first three games that I mentioned, Dirt Tracks, Star Fox, and what was the other one I mentioned? I don't know. I lost it. They used the Super FX GSU-1 chip. Oh, Vortex, that's the one. But we're here to do an unboxing on these two, and I figured I'd do it both in the same video because I have Doom. That retro, not retro, well, it is retro, but that Limited Run Games re-released on the Super Nintendo, and this uses I believe the custom, I guess they call it the custom Super FX chip 3, which this game adds features that the original Doom didn't have. It says features 14 new levels, including episode 4, Thy Flesh Consumed, which that's a whole new episode. We never had that in the original Doom. Says poster included. Nice to my collection, so I can frame that and hang it up somewhere. Performance improvements for fast and fluid gameplay. Circle strafing. Circle strafing is, yeah, back then we didn't have that, and I understand because of the limited capacity that the console can handle, or they just didn't have enough space to put it in here. So a lot of things, like in this game for the Super Nintendo, I've played it on the PC, but I didn't have a PC in 1993, so the very first time I played Doom was on Super Nintendo. That's the very first time I played Doom. For use on your retro console. It's kind of cool how they, bring it back and they actually make it for your console. So I'm going to have to dig out my Super Nintendo. I have it somewhere. And I could use the regular Super Nintendo controllers, but I bought this controller, for the fact that it has rumble support. So that's going to be pretty cool. Pretty interesting. So let's get back to this. Level codes, monster respawning on nightmare difficulty. Yeah, because nightmare difficulty back then, if you took more damage, there was less resources, but they didn't respawn. And in the new nightmare difficulties now, the enemies respawn. Well, I think even in PC, the original 1993 nightmare difficulty, they respawn. Rumble support via an all-new controller. So this controller was made specifically for this game. So let's open this up and get to it, right? Got my box cutter. Man, this is really cool. There is a collector's edition variant, which is a bloody cartridge, and I tried to get it, but it just sold out too fast. Anything Doom sells out too quick. I couldn't get it. Even though limited run games, like, they have their pre-orders open for a month, it sold out too quick. And I was just like, I was kind of bummed out, but I was just like, well, you know, wasn't meant to be, I guess. But the standard one was, it wasn't expensive. It was $59.99, $49.99, something like that. But that's fine. It's not a big deal. I still wanted it. This is really cool, man. Takes me back as a kid, but I'm definitely looking forward to playing this. So whenever they announced it and I saw it, I was like, oh man, I gotta get that. Even though I know it's basically a Super Nintendo game, it's cool to see the improvements, something that we never had. So you get to see what could have been back then had we had the technology we do now. But of course it's the future, so we didn't. That's awesome. So it does come in the cardboard holding the cartridge, and I do have the original cartridge. I have my games in storage, so I should have, when I made this video, I should have brought the original cartridge, but oh well, I didn't. Would have been cool, you know, to have the original one here. Well, maybe I might record a separate video and put it in here in the same video, just to have them side to side, you know what I mean? But so let's open this up. I like how it does come with how the original games came. It came with this cardboard, and you know, as kids, once we opened the game, we would probably like toss this, throw it away, but no, I'm definitely gonna keep that. Very cool. So this is not shrink wrapped or anything like that. It's just like an envelope, or not an envelope, but like a plastic bag. That's cool, man. Looks like the original Super Nintendo cartridges. It's probably a little better quality. It's smooth. Doesn't say Nintendo, obviously. Bethesda, id, and limited run games on the back. This is awesome. But this is the same as the original game. It actually shows it fully on the cover here. But I'm really looking forward to this. It's gonna be cool. Oh, it comes with, well, like I said, the poster. It's a pretty good sized poster. It's not small, actually. I don't know the size of it. It could be a, oh yeah, that's cool. It's probably maybe a 12 by 18 or 16 by 18. I didn't measure it, and it doesn't say it on the box. So, but I would definitely frame that and put it up, because I do have the 24 by 36 Doom 2 poster, and I don't have the 24 by 36 Doom 1 poster. The manual is identical to the Super Nintendo version. I went to a retro game store some time ago, and they did have a manual for the Super Nintendo, and I should have got it. They only wanted like $4 or $5 for it, and it was a complete original manual. But I figured, you know, since I ordered this whenever I got it in, it's basically an identical manual. So I just figured, well, I'll just wait for this, and this is going to be brand new. But maybe I should have picked it up. Maybe if I go back and they still have it, I'll pick it up. But this is the original. Well, the original don't have Bethesda and id, Limrun, any of that. But this is exactly how the Super Nintendo manual was. It's pretty cool. I don't remember if the original one was in color. It might have been. I know the front is in color, but I don't remember if inside was in color. I didn't look inside. I just saw it. It most likely is. This is really cool. The story so far. When games used to have manuals, right? This is awesome. Oh yeah, I forgot. This game does support the mouse. I forgot there was a mouse. That's right, there is. So you can hear the pages crackling because it's brand new. This, and by the way, the skull keys don't look like that. They look like that in the manual, but they don't look like that in the game. They look all like squished. All the weapons. I've never understood. It doesn't show a picture of the fist. You know, like it does show it in the game. He's got the ring. And he's like this. But it doesn't even show the pistol. Like you would think it would show the pistol. But I guess the pistol and the fist are not important. But they got the shotgun. They got the chainsaw. They got the chain gun. I don't know why it says chain guns. But they got the chain gun, the rocket launcher, plasma rifle, the BFG 9000. I don't know why they have S... emphasizing plurals. You only get one. I mean, you do find multiple ones for ammo, but that's it. But once you pick it up, you have it. Interesting how for the back when they made Doom, the original weapons were actually toy guns. Like I know the chain gun was a toy gun, the rocket launcher was a toy gun, the shotgun was a toy gun. The chainsaw was actually a real chainsaw. I believe one of the developers' girlfriend had a chainsaw. I believe it was an Eager Beaver 2.0. And that's actually what the chainsaw looks like in real life. And I just remember reading about that. That they scanned a real chainsaw. The plasma rifle is actually a Rambo toy gun from the 80s. They actually cut it and turned it around. Because... this is actually, I believe it was an M60. So they actually, was this the stock or the barrel? And they cut it and then they flipped it to make this look like the barrel because it looked, because this was the stock. Because it looked like futuristic. It's interesting. And I remember looking it up. I remember looking up that specific toy. You could still find it for like maybe $100. But I found it and I was cracking up because they actually did that. It's funny. But the chainsaw, I remember seeing a video with John Romero saying that they had to have the chainsaw in a bowl because it kept leaking oil. Anywho, they got the ammo, pistol, shotgun shells, rockets and cells, the hazardous, the armor, the health pickups. Yeah, that's another thing too, is I remember the original Dooms had the Red Cross for the health, but the Red Cross Association got mad about that, and then they changed it to that pill. And I guess a lot of people hated the pill. It didn't really bother me that much, but it's just iconic to see the Red Cross. And then they brought back the cross, but it was just green. So the original Super Nintendo does have the Red Cross, but this one has the green one. So it's really cool. All the monsters. You got the former soldiers, former sergeant, imp. I call them the pimps. I think it's funny. Lost souls, the demons, which is Pinky Demon, the Cacodemon, the Barons of Hell, Cyber Demon, and Spider Demon. Yeah, they didn't add any extra enemies in this. You know, they're missing the Arc Vial, they're missing the Revenant. Yeah, you know what? I forgot. The Revenant is not in the first Doom. That's right. And then they don't have the spider, the little mini spider, arachnotrons, I think they're called. And were the ones that shoot the plasma at you. And then they're missing the chain gunner. And obviously they're missing the super shotgun. But hey, Doom is Doom, right? That's cool. That's awesome. So let's get to the controller. Where is this sealed or? Nope. Wait. Oh yeah, it is. It is. Oh, I hate when they do this. Like when you try to pull it up and then it bends and then look, it leaves a bend. Oh well. It's cool, it's cool. You know, I've never even opened up a real Super Nintendo controller, like an official Super Nintendo controller, and they do come in boxes this small. Because I have seen them, but these retro stores want crazy amounts of money for original Super Nintendo controller. Oh, this is the little thing where it hangs like on a shelf or something. But the controller is basic. Gives you a warning, disclaimer. But oh man, this is so cool. And I mean, it's not as thin as the Super Nintendo controller because I have a original controller. Actually, I think, yeah, hold on, give me a second. I think I have one right here. All right, I'm back. This is the original Super Nintendo controller. So it's, well, I guess, I don't know, this one just feels more flat, but let me see. Well, then again, the edges kind of have like more of a bulge sticking out because of the rumble effects, or the rumble, the added rumbles. But it's basically the same thing. This actually feels more like the Retrobit GameCube controller, like the Hori controller, because GameCube, there was a controller for the GameCube by Hori that they basically, oh, I do have it, but I don't have it here. But again, I might have to add it to this video. I have to go get them from storage. But I do have the new one, actually. It's by Retrobit. I have to compare them all. But it was for the Nintendo GameCube, and it was by a company called Hori, and they made exact Super Nintendo controller, but it was for the Nintendo GameCube. You had A, X, Y, B, Z. Z was right here. So the only thing is, it didn't have the C stick, but it was comfortable to play like Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, well, any of the Resident Evils except 4, because 4 you needed the C stick for the like sniper rifle or something. But Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, Mortal Kombat Deception, because it had a bigger D-pad because the GameCube controllers had that real tiny D-pad. But I'll add it to this video just to like compare the cartridge to the original cartridge and the controllers. But this is very cool. Very cool. Basically, well, because this, like I said, this feels like that reproduction of the Hori controller, but by Retrobit. And I remember I bought it at the Gigabyte Gaming Expo back in 2025. They only wanted $10 for it. So I bought one, of course. This is pretty cool. Play some Mortal Kombat 2 with this. Which I have it on Super Nintendo. But that will do it for this video. This part anyways. So I'm back, but I went to my storage. This is the new game that we got, right? For the Super Nintendo. It's pretty nice. I thought the original cartridge was the whole thing, but it's not. Here's the original. The red cartridge. So you can see that the new picture's a lot more clear. It's actually bigger than the original one, actually. So get real close to that. You can see it. And then the original. I bought this. Damn. I bought this at Game Crazy. If you guys remember Game Crazy from Hollywood Video. Paid $10 for it, $9.99. Still has the original price tag that it had when I bought it. But this is the original game. So you could see that the motherboard's different. And then the back. I do like how right here they left the spot empty, but on the original it says Nintendo. It's cool. But again, it's pretty much identical except for the cartridge color. And the Super Nintendo cartridge colors were gray. This is like a bluish one, but that's you know, that's still pretty cool. And I paid $99.99 for this. I said like $50-$60 earlier. That was wrong. So $100. But again, I wanted it and I got it. And I think I said something else earlier, but I don't remember what it was. You could always put down in the comments and correct me. So this is the new controller that we got that I opened. And this is the original Super Nintendo controller. Once again, Now, this is the Hori controller for the GameCube that I was talking about, which is pretty similar to this. Again, it's more flat on the Super Nintendo, but it's like equivalent to this, right? So this controller I used to play because the GameCube controller, the D-pad was awful. It was tiny, it was little, and it would hurt my thumb. But I bought this one because it reminded me of the Super Nintendo. And I used to play like Resident Evil, Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, I guess that's mainly all I really played with this controller, really, like the Resident Evil games. And I liked it better because it's smaller, you know. I didn't play Deception. I've never played Mortal Kombat Deception for the GameCube, which it's kind of expensive because I mainly played it on PS2 and Xbox, but I would like to play it for the GameCube one day. But originally I bought this controller specifically for Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance because the D-pad was so bad on the GameCube because it's so small. But this is for the Nintendo GameCube. It's kind of faded, but you can see it said Nintendo GameCube. And this is from a company called Hori that made this. And, you know, it's pretty similar to these. But this one is actually closer to this one. This is also for the GameCube. This is a reproduction controller. Now, it's not a reproduction. I wouldn't say it's a reproduction of a Super Nintendo controller or the Hori controller for the GameCube. But I would say this is closest to the Hori controller because of the layout. And this is actually from Retrobit. And I love Retrobit. I'll tell you why right now. But I like that these controllers feel good. And on the back of it actually has a mode. I don't know if you can read that. If you hold the buttons, I think it's like start and up on the D-pad. Oh, no. For the C-stick, because there's no C-stick on here. If you hold right on the D-pad and start, this actually this turns into a C-stick. So you can actually control the C-stick with this. But you'd have to hold back, start and up to go back to the original D-pad. But it's kind of cool how they implemented it into one controller. But again, it's very similar to this one. But this is, see, this is like identical. But I think Retrobit was behind this. I don't know if it's, let me see. Oh, it doesn't say anything. This one says Retrobit on the back. I wonder if Retrobit actually made these 4 limited run games for, you know, for the Doom game. But I wanted to share that. I thought it was kind of cool. And I like, oh, here's the box that I actually got this at a gaming expo in 2025 in January. When I went, it was called the Gigabyte Gaming Expo, and Retrobit was there, and actually they were selling these for $10. I picked one up. I should have got like a couple of them because I actually like them. It's wired, and it does say compatible with GameCube and Wii. So that's, I love. Oh shit! I hit the camera. But I love Retrobit. The story about Retrobit, why I like them, is because in 2005, I bought a Sega Saturn. This is when I was living in Iowa with my brother Juan. We worked at a pizza parlor, and with my first paycheck, I went to a retro game store that my brother took me to, and I bought a Sega Saturn for $32 and some change. The games I got with it were Street Fighter Alpha 2, Doom, Mortal Kombat Trilogy, and I believe that's it. 3 games. Now those games go for a lot of money, and when I got home, well, back to the apartment, I hooked up the Sega Saturn, super excited because I wanted a Sega Saturn all my life, and to my knowledge, the controller did not work. I was really bummed out because I really wanted to try any of the games that I got on Sega Saturn. And I got those games specifically for the fact that I knew how to play those games, so I was familiar with it. But yeah, no, I was totally let down because my controller was like a third-party controller that whoever traded that Saturn in, traded in with that controller and didn't work. I was really bummed out. But fast forward to 2024, I believe, I bought reproductive controllers for the Sega Saturn by Retrobit. And over the years, I had collected games for the Sega Saturn whenever I came across them. One of them being Resident Evil for the not for the GameCube, but for the Sega Saturn, and that game goes for like $300-400 now. And I have 3 copies of Resident Evil for the Saturn. I want to thank them because if it wasn't for them, I probably wouldn't be playing my Sega Saturn like I do now. Because I used to find controllers at retro stores, but they wanted like $75 for a used controller, and I wasn't gonna pay that. But now you can find reproductive Sega Saturn controllers on Retrobit website, or I think Amazon. I think they're $20, and I bought 2 of them, and I paid $20 each, so $40 was nothing. But I went on the website to see if I can order more of these, but I didn't see them on there. It said sold out, so I don't know if they'll ever get them back, but if they do, I will buy them. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for Doom for the Super Nintendo. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you on the next one. Again, I thought it was kind of cool to share the original with the new one, so maybe one day well, I know for sure one day I'll stream the new one, but I don't know if I'll stream the original one because it runs so crappy, but maybe.